Good day, everybody. Welcome to Market Buzz. I'm Greg Schnell, the Canadian technician and host of the Market Buzz. Each show, we do a deep dive into different industries using weekly charts to see what is happening on a long timeline. Please follow me on Twitter at Schnell Investor. And you can also find my blogs on gregschnell.com as well as stockcharts.com. And on stockcharts.com, I'm going to try and just write a simple little 2-chart article every day, 2 or 3 charts, just outlining some interesting stuff that I see in the market rather than trying to be so long-winded and explanatory. Might just write a little more often and try and make them 1 or 2 minute reads just to put out a couple of good ideas each day. Anyway, hopefully that helps. What do I see in the market today? Things are going pretty well. They continue to be pushing higher. I was actually expecting a bit more of a pullback come the end of the year, and then last week a big rally. So this week it continues to push higher. Globally, we're pushing higher, and I'm going to cover off what are called the cyclicals or the consumer discretionary stocks. There's multiple different types of cyclicals. Energy can be cyclical, financials can be cyclical. I'm going to cover off the consumer discretionary, those type of cyclical stocks. And what do we mean by cyclicals? So in an economy, you'll have ebbs and flows where the economy speeds up and slows down. And when the economy slows down, we typically migrate into defensive types of stocks because they have cash flow. And that's even changing over time. We used to migrate into consumer staples and utilities and things like that. Well, now actually people are migrating into Microsoft and Apple because they have so much cash flow that they make a relatively defensive place to park your money and yet still have some tech upside. So it's interesting to see how even investors have evolved over time. I noticed some of the biggest growth investors, their idea of moving to safety is just to moving into Apple and Amazon and those types of names, which I got to tell you, that's very, very different than, I'll call it, previous generations' ways of thinking about the market. But we also have things like energy and banks that as the economy improves, they start to speed up and materials usage starts to speed up and industrials picks up. So there's lots of things that are a little more cyclical and they actually cycle up and down. And if you talk to a banker, they'll tell you that their stocks are not cyclical, they're just nice and smooth. But it seems like every year they have a big enough wave in them that you could call them cyclicals. And they tend to pull back pretty hard with an economic slowdown as well. So lots of different ways to look at the market. Today what we're going to cover off is the consumer discretionary or the shopping stocks. And you would think after December 1st or after the end of December, you'd probably be over that season. But remarkably, what I've found over the years is that that consumer discretionary group, and I want to narrow it down into retail purchasing, not so much automobiles, but retail purchasing. And in that group, they actually run all the way to the end of the March, and they can make some very nice trade environments. So that's what we're going to talk about. And again, as always in my Market Buzz, I like to show you how I get the data set up. So hopefully that helps you to be able to create the same thing. So this is the consumer cyclicals, the whole sector. And if you've never done this before and you would like to set up your own group, this is a pretty easy thing to do. You're going to go in and you're going to say you want a new scan. And then what do you want in this new scan? And we're going to delete that line up there, but we're going to go down here and we're just going to pick the different types of groups. And in this case, here's the cyclicals. Now, if we just wanted the cyclicals without auto parts and all of that kind of stuff, we could actually go in and just select those, or we could pick the whole thing. I covered off the recreational products recently. I'm covering off the autos quite a bit with the electric vehicles theme. So why don't we go in and pick a few individual groups and add them, and that would be how you would do it in here. And again, I've already got this set up, so I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time doing this, but the idea would that you'd go in and pick up the sectors that you want to check into. Footwear always seems to be somebody wanting to buy shoes. And as you roll through these, again, there's no real wrong way to do it. What I'm trying to show you is just different ways of sorting the data and bringing them. So Your first line always has to start without the and sign. I don't know what I did wrong there. Let's just get rid of that and see if I can click in here. Get rid of that. One more. There we go. Okay, and so we could sort and run that scan, and that would give us a group. And when we run it, we would put these results in a new chart list. Okay, I've already got one set up, so I don't really want to build another one. So mine is called the consumer cyclical sector. And again, it's everything in here. There's over 360 stocks. And the way they're set up right now is the way they were set up last time. And so what we want to talk about is how you change that. So in this case, L Brands at the time had just shot up, and it was an interesting stock. And I went back and looked. I haven't covered off the cyclicals for a while. I think it might have been October. Anyway, they look like they're starting to ramp up here, but L Brands had a big week last week, and then this week is just migrating sideways. So we could continue and look at the stocks that were strong last time. And again, this was the second top stock last time, so it definitely wasn't since the November period here that I covered these off. But you can see moving back above the 10-week, and this chart looks pretty good actually. Could be a really nice place to turn up. And here's Duluth Holdings. They do a lot of advertising. They ran up, they pulled back, and now it looks like they're starting to bounce and get back above the 10-week. That would be a nice place. This would be a bounce above zero. They do a lot of online as well, so that's a good way to go. But what you see here is this stock now has a scooter ranking of 64, which is relatively low. So 100 is the top one, and 0.1 would be the lowest scooter ranking. And then what we have here, we're back on 98.4. So as you look across, we could keep going with this mixed look, or we could sort by a couple of different things. So here's summary. And again, let's just pick year to date, right? Let's just say what stocks are up the best year to date, and we could go look at those first. Wow, that's a big change in 10 days. Definitely ramping it up, let's call it that. So as these stocks are starting to move, you can quickly go and look and see what happens. Now, what we have to do is get rid of these numbers on the front, so we're going to go edit the list. Just scroll to the bottom, and then here we're going to select all of them, and we're going to remove the numbers from this list. And again, we're in edit mode, and maybe I missed the OK button there. And then what we've got here is no way to sort them, right? There's no other data here other than the ticker symbols. So we go down into summary mode, and in summary mode, we could sort by scooter ranking, or like I said, by year to date. So let's just do that to be different. I don't usually sort by that one. And now we scroll back to the bottom of the page. In this case, I'm using a function button, and then just press number in sorted order, and that's going to add the numbers onto the front of all of these. Now, this is what is up the most today, but we want what is up year to date. And again, so now it's all sorted. So the sort order I had is now gone, and now we're back on just looking at this particular view, and I'm going to go to view 10 per page. And scrolling through again, here's a stock breaking out to new 52-week highs to start the year. That's pretty bullish. And it looks like it wants to run nicely. Office Depot, wow, that's a move. All of a sudden went from, just under 52-week highs to now 3-year highs. So that's a serious push. Electromechanica, I like this one. This is little individual cars. I'm not going to cover off the car ones very much. At home, starting to move up here. You can see this breakout. So you can see the way I've sorted it. We're getting everything. Now, I mentioned I just wanted to kind of cover retailers or whatever. So the way we could do that is we could go summary, and we could put it on year to date, and then we could add a column to sort by industry group. And we know that everything we're looking at is in consumer discretionary, but if we sorted by year to date and then industry group, what this is going to do is put all the apparel retailers together, all of the auto parts together, all of the broadline retailers together. So we could just literally go through and look to find those different areas. So if you like that. So let's just edit this list again. What I'm trying to show you is how easy it is to just throw away the old sort and get on with the new one. So we're going to remove the numbers from this one and go back up. And again, this is so easy. You just pick what you want to do. So we're going to sort by year-to-date change, and then we're going to sort by, so we've got year-to-date change, and then we want to sort by the apparel retailers all together. And now we're going to scroll to the bottom and just say number in sorted order. So I hope I keep refreshing this often enough so you know how to do this very easily. You're not worried about it. It's quite a routine thing to do. Now we're going to jump in again, like I said, and go through and sort 10 per page. Here's Signet Jewelers, we've already talked about. Here's Genesco, an apparel retailer just breaking out. This is really nice, up 22% already this year. Quite a solid push. I like the PPO getting up to a new 5-year high. This is really, really bullish. Here's Boot Barn, and we see that this is at 48.11. We've just moved above it, so this is hitting new all-time highs. What's not to like? L Brands, talked about this one already, taking off to the moon. Here's Tilly's, and this one is really starting to step up here. This was a jump from $8 to start the year up to 10. And it wouldn't take much to be at new 2-year highs. So that one looks like it's on the move. Land's End, they just literally moved off the end of the moon, or the end of the earth, and started to push higher. So that looks good, going to the moon. Designer brands, this one is still not breaking out yet. I'd kind of want to start to see that kick up a little bit more. Nordstrom's all of a sudden starting to get a rip into it this week. And again, this time of year is typically pretty good. For some of the stronger ones, Nordstrom chart doesn't illustrate that historically. Here's Zumiez, and it's off to new all-time highs, so they must have something people like. Urban Outfitters, a little bit of horizontal resistance just overhead here, but it's, again, this week is already starting to move up. We're only a couple of days in, and it's having a pretty strong week. When we look down on Duluth Holdings, we've talked about this one already. Here's Foot Locker. I like this one a lot. So this chart is just hitting new 52-week highs this week. That's just pretty. We know Nike's been doing very well, so all of a sudden this could take off. Buckle, again, 52-week highs. Here's American Eagle, and you're breaking out to new 52-week highs. You broke out to 52-week highs a while ago. We're just about to break out to new 2-year highs here. Stock looks very, very strong, and as it breaks out, looks like it's probably going to go through the all-time high later on this year. So Gap, we've talked about that one. Here's Express. You know, that chart is just trending the wrong direction, so let's not take the miracle trade and look for something that just turned up recently. We'll try and find something that's already been accumulating for a while. This big horizontal red line here, sitting here, you can see we're going to get to that level again. We could go in and annotate this chart. The idea being that, you know, if you've got horizontal resistance this big just sitting in this stock, we probably want to make sure that we're going to get through it. And anyway, good chance that we're going to start to take it on. Everything is up, moving up nicely this week, and we have a big global backdrop that's also nice to see. So I would encourage, try not to be pessimistic when everything's hitting new highs. And I know it seems like things have run a long way, and we want to be cautious, but they continue to push higher. So try and focus on the sectors that are working, and things are starting to click up here. So here's Chico's. This stock hasn't started to move yet. Again, I think the ones that haven't started to move yet, I think I'm going to let somebody else own them. This Guess stock just breaking out to new 5-year highs. That looks pretty bullish. Cato, kind of fishing in the weeds here. A little bit too low for me. Kohl's, I like this 6 weeks consolidation and a breakout. Shoe Carnival, I have 2 daughters and a wife that like these shoe stores, so not just Shoe Carnival, but every shoe store. Anyway, so shoes always seem to be in demand, and there we go. That stock's breaking out to new 2-year highs and almost through the old highs. Canada Goose ran up, pulled back, and it looks like it might be ready to make its next leg higher. The whole pullback in here, this was some tariffs, I think. There was a couple of reasons going on there. I think China started to put a little pressure on Canada Goose, and I can't remember what it was. But anyway, the stock looks like it's ready to turn around, bouncing off the 40-week and starting to take off to the upside. That one might have some room to move. Caleres looks like it wants to keep working its way higher, so this is just a nice steady uptrend. Children's Place, this one's getting up near prior resistance this year. I don't know, the stock is trying to break through this downtrend, so perhaps it's starting to make its move, but wasn't really, not really one I kind of want to look at. Burlington Stores, you just have to love that uptrend for 5 years, and it's just breaking out to new 5-year highs or all-time highs again. TJX is pushing up into the top right-hand corner. That looks pretty good. Here's Ross Stores, again, testing prior high. Always want to make sure it gets through that. What I like about a lot of these charts, I know they're overbought. They look extended. The big thing that we're finding is, first of all, there's been a lot of money come into the market from government assistance. So that's a big one. And the second component is there's a pent up want to get out of the house. So I think once these economies open up a little bit more, we're probably going to see a lot more push to the upside, and we'll have to keep watching for that. Here's Superior Industries. This is auto parts. I don't think we want to go through auto parts, so I'm just going to go up and I'm going to pick a different type. So this is still auto parts. Let's just go check what the next group is. Still autos. Macy's. Here we go. So let's just see what's the scooter ranking. 95. This is probably close to the top of the list. I'm just going to go to the bottom of the previous page. Might have been a little confusing on the way I did that, but let me just quickly get to the top of that. Okay, here's automobiles, and here's Ollie's Bargain Outlet Holdings. This one looks like it's ready to start turning up again. It had made new all-time highs in the middle of the year, then pulled back and is just starting to start its next wave up. So perhaps that one could be a pretty nice place to look on the chart. Liquidity Services, this one pushed to new 5-year highs on one big super swoop here, probably a power earnings gap or whatever, and then consolidating sideways and looks like it's ready to go. Okay, let's go back and see Macy's, and we all know what trouble that chart is, 5 years down. It's still pushing higher here and looks like it wants to go even more if you're interested. Big Lots hasn't done anything for a couple of years, had a big rebound, and now is just kind of rolled over. Perhaps it's ready because this was a new 5-year high when it got to this 56.49. Not quite, I guess 57.01 was the prior high. So it's trying to step up here. Again, all of these charts, price action's pretty strong. Here's Target. That looks like it's got a target of the moon. Price Smart, this thing has been just accelerating wonderfully. Chart turning up very, very nicely from $70 beginning in November to $100 now. VIP Shop Holdings, this has been uptrending nicely for 2 years. Looks pretty solid. JD.com, I think we all know that name. It's been running for 2 years and is still drilling in the top right-hand corner. Scooter ranking has weakened a little bit, showing it might not be as strong as it once was. And then Alibaba has rolled over. We all know they've had some pressure recently. I still think it's a pretty strong company, so there's an uptrend of support. Let's just draw that in if we can. I can't do it here. I'll just click out and draw the uptrend. Probably want to see it hold this uptrend, but, that uptrend's been in place for 2 years now. I kind of want to bet on it holding here, not failing. So if this is going to start to turn, this might be a nice entry. This was over 300. It's down to 225. That's not a bad pullback for the quality of Alibaba stock. Let's just go back here. And then Amazon, what's not to like? It's a wonderful company. Trending down in relative strength here compared to its peers. Its price has been flat while everything else has been flying. I don't really see that as a problem. It's just you could have made money elsewhere. I still think, it had such a good, strong ramp in the middle of the year when everything else was closed. If this does start to turn up, it's its next leg higher, and you probably want to be on board. Dillard's, the chart hasn't done anything for years, and I'm not sure it's the place I'd go to get my next million. Herc Holdings, this one's pushing up, trying to get through prior highs. I have no idea what they do. Business support services. Is that something we want to talk about today? Probably not. Let's just go see what's over business and training agencies. We'll just keep looking for some more interesting areas. Here's Capri Holdings, 99.3. We're right at the top. So Capri is pushing up nicely, just breaking out to new 52-week highs. I think the last time I covered this stock was just starting to break out. So it was late October, and again, a really nice run. Look at the volume coming in last week. It looks like somebody's getting ready for this thing to pop up relatively strong. Polo, again, the chart hasn't done anything for 5 years. It is breaking a downtrend here, or very close to it. Definitely pushing higher. Under Armour, just breaking out of an 8-week consolidation. That looks pretty good. Again, the time of the year is pretty important. Hanes, there's just not a lot of upside on that chart. I think I'd let somebody else own it. Doesn't mean the upside's not about to start. I think there's better names that might give you better acceleration. Unify, clothing and accessories. It's working its way higher. The chart isn't all that strong. Scooter ranking of 67. I'd probably try and find something else that was a little stronger. Here's Funko. And what we see is Scooter ranking 79.6. This one's just giving you a nice 4-week pullback. Perhaps it can start to take off again. Its Scooter ranking did make it up into the top half, or top quarter there. Vera Bradley, a little bit of a higher end brand, narrowing into a triangle. Looks like it's about to start its liftoff. But again, the chart hasn't really served you well for 4 or 5 years. As long as you're in it for a trade, could probably work. Columbia Sportswear, they're out of Oregon, and I saw a special on CNBC on Tuesday where they discussed that, how the companies in Oregon are suffering after the violent rallies that happened there a few months ago. Columbia still seems good to go. The chart's okay. I want to see it break out from here. It stalled all of 2019, pulled back, and really didn't get the love going here this time. If it's going to start to turn up, this is exactly when we'd expect it, and it's just breaking out through the prior 2 months highs here. So hopefully it can push up and get above this $100 level. I have no idea what this one is. Company financier Richemont, trying to push to new highs here. It's got a couple of tweezer tops on this chart. Probably want to watch it get through this $10 level. And J. Jill, this one's just trending the wrong way. We'll let somebody else own it. Lululemon, that's trending the right way. It's been sideways, though, all the way since May. If that could start to turn up and make new 1 month highs, at least it would be worth looking at. One thing I don't like is the Scooter ranking has been up here for 3 years, and all of a sudden it's starting to show weakness. Not sure what would be driving that on that stock, but usually, that's a pretty good clue that at least maybe it's overbought for a while and it needs to go down and just kind of underperform a bit and build a base, find a new level, and then start to work higher from there. But I'm surprised at its underperformance so far. VF Corp, again, trying to break through prior highs. At least the chart's trending up nicely. That looks good. Gildan Activewear, Scooter rankings holding up okay. The chart just hasn't really been above this level much, so why bother with it? Prog Holdings, PROG Holdings, sitting at prior highs, so not that exciting. These are all durable household products. Newell Brands, this one's making new 2-year highs, so maybe there's something going on there. People are putting everything in storage, so the Rubbermaid part of it. It'll be trying to break through to all-time highs here. You're up near the top of the range, but again, it kind of gets stuck at this valuation. Tupperware, again, pushing up, going sideways for 3 or 4 months. I'm not sure these are the names that I want to look for. iRobot, I'm actually surprised how sideways it is. They continue to try and come out with new products, but obviously it's not exciting investors. So let's go look for something a little more exciting than these durable households here. Steve Madden footwear. We could probably go back on this page and find a few more. Lifetime Brands, Select Interior, Helen of Troy. And there we go, Crocs. So Crocs is the number 1 footwear right now. That's impressive. Pushing up last week and continuing to gap higher this week. So lots of love for that particular stock. Deckers Outdoors pushing up. These names all look good. Wolverine Worldwide, just pushing through 5-week highs here, so that looks nice. Skechers USA, I bought some Skechers golf shoes the other day, hoping to play golf someday. Pushing up here, trying to get into the $39 level. Steve Madden, the stock, it's had some wide swinging, just basically consolidation out of the uptrend, and it looks like it's ready to continue here. So it was making higher highs and higher lows, but not really making progress very fast. Nike, that chart's just a bullet to the higher ground, so I don't think you want to bet against them with the marketing they've been doing. Sleep Number, obviously, they've got somebody's number because that thing just keeps trending higher. Ethan Allen, stock is breaking out to new 2-year highs as everybody's staying at home and buying furniture and stuff like that. Perhaps that's what's kicking this stock up. Same thing with Lazy Boy breaking out through new 5-year highs. Tile Interface downtrending, but starting to finally push here. Perhaps that's going to get going. Tempur-Pedic, probably the same as Sleep Number, starting to push up, working pretty well. Knoll, this one is, I think, more office furniture, but I'd be surprised if that's kind of the place to be with everybody working from home and probably less people going back to the office. Even if they do go back to the office, I don't expect that the increase in office demand is going to be that high right now. Mohawk, sideways, again, furnishings, more furnishings. So hopefully you're getting the idea of the different ways to sort and work through these. I always like to try and figure out the sectors I want to see, work through them, and then find them. So here's Penn Gambling. This one was, call it $4 on the low, $10 a couple of weeks later, and now $99. That's a pretty nice ramp on that stock. Boyd Gaming, this one's pushing up to new all-time highs right now. Looks like it's probably ready to add a little bit more. Scientific Games pushing up nicely. All of these charts continue to work. And then there's kind of a sideways one here with a wedge building. Looks like a continuation wedge and hopefully an upside breakout. Churchill Downs already in the top right-hand corner and looks like it wants to continue. You have to like the slope of that trend. International Games, this stock's really starting to accelerate lately, so perhaps they've got some new exciting product going on there. Eldorado Resorts breaking through to prior highs. It's hard to believe all of these gambling stocks are doing so well when a lot of the places are closed or under limited people that can get in. So Golden Entertainment about to break through 52-week highs. Red Rock Resorts, you get the idea. They're all starting to work higher. So with that, I'd like to make sure that you're aware. Lots of things going on. If you can head over to gregschnell.com, there's some blog articles there. Feel free to put your name in, and as I publish more, I'll send one to you if you'd like to do that. Thanks for taking the time to join me on Market Buzz. Market Buzz airs Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can also see the recordings on StockCharts TV YouTube page. There's a lot of stuff on StockCharts YouTube, and the one thing I just want to show you very quickly, when you go there, you can see very quick sorts about what I've covered off, and hopefully there's some ideas for you. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're going to bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.